Just let me know what you want me to call you so I can call you when it's your time to share. Please do not share your last name or speak about any personal information like where you work or live so we can protect your anonymity as much as possible. What is said here stays here. Please do not repeat anything said here. You do not have to share if you don't want to. You are welcome to listen. But we do learn from each other sharing, and it is part of the process of recovery. Coming to one meeting is like putting one foot into a bath and then complaining that you didn't get very clean. You didn't stop at turning one trick, so please don't stop at coming to one meeting. If you're serious about finding recovery, the program is more than just coming to a meeting once a week. It's coming to meetings. Lost my place. Okay.
Okay, you're doing great.
Coming to meetings, working the steps, learning how to apply the positions into your daily life, as well as your interactions with others. It's also getting a sponsor and not taking that first transaction no matter what. If you don't know how to solve a problem other than taking that first transaction, then call 3 of us. By the end of those 3 phone calls, we promise you will have found another solution. This program is more than just about not returning to any area of the sex industry. If you're like us, when you have quit sex work, you may be suffering from what we call post-prostitution syndrome. This is why we say that our requirement for membership is twofold. First, you must have the desire to quit the sex industry. Then, you must also have the desire to find recovery. Recovery is about healing and also stopping the insanity and the self-destruction that is common for most of us, both in and out of the sex industry, and the many forms that may take. To mute the background so we don't hear the noise behind you, please hit *6. To unmute to speak, hit *6 again. Please do not crosstalk over another person. What we do here at this meeting is first, I read some recovery literature, then I share for about 10 minutes. After I share, I call upon each of you to share for about 5 minutes. Please try to not go over that time so everyone has time to share. Please don't make any negative comments about another person's share or ask questions. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the end of the meeting. We do not care about how much money you made, who you know, what you did, or where you worked. All we care about here at this meeting is what your problem is and how we can help. We are not a therapy group nor an employment agency. We are not a bank nor a school. This is not a religious program, as you have the right to any higher power of your understanding and the 12-step process. This is a spiritual program designed to help you find a new way of life. I've asked someone to read the steps of sex workers. No. Would someone like to read?
The 12 traditions?
I think Shelby's going to read the 12 traditions.
Yeah, Shelby's got the 12 traditions.
Hi, I'm Shelby, and I'm recovering prostitute. The 12 traditions of Sex and Workers Anonymous. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon SWA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3, the only requirement for SWA membership is the desire to find recovery from the sex industry. 4, each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or SWA as a whole. Each group has but one primary purpose, to carry the message to a sex worker who still suffers. 6, a SWA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the SWA. Named related facility or outside enterprise least problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Every SWA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Sex Workers Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, SWA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible for those they serve. 10, Sex Workers Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the SWA.
Okay, is that 12? Okay, thanks, Shelby. And Does anyone have a copy of the 12 steps that would like to read the 12 steps?
I have them up on my thing.
You have steps?
I have the
steps.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Shelby with, again, recovering prostitute, the 12 steps of Sex Workers Anonymous. 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, we made a decision in our will and our lives over to God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except to do so when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to
carry this message?
It stopped right there, Jody.
Let's try to carry this message to the prostitute who still suffers.
Okay. Thanks for reading, Shelby. And, okay, so I was trying to think of a topic all day, and I believe last week I only came in at the tail end of the meeting. I'm sorry, my name is Paris. I'm a recovering prostitute. And it sounds like we were doing, I don't know if it was a beginner's meeting, steps 1 through 3 on surrender. So I thought I would kind of move into step 4. So I chose the reading to come out of the recovery, I'm sorry, what is it called? The recovery guide?
The recovery guide.
Page, well, I'm on the online version. I'm just going to read step 4. Okay, it says, unlike some common perceptions that this is about looking at all the disgusting and terrible things we have done in our life, we feel that the word moral was put there for a reason. Most of us came in Sex Workers Anonymous with a huge wall of brainwashing. We've had sick parents, religious fanatics, tricks, the media, and who knows who else tell us what to feel and how to act and ways we should run our lives. We have been somebody else for so long, we may have no idea who we are underneath all of the adaptations. Being truly fearless may mean risking other people's displeasure or even rejection. But once in our lives, we need to find out what our personal morality is, a morality that we may have been too afraid to own up until now. We may have felt sticking to our own moral standards would have cost us too much in the past, but in recovery, we find that without it, we are worth nothing. This step doesn't ask us I'm sorry.
It's okay, you're right.
I'm just going to read it as this step doesn't ask us to all of a sudden act like saints. It merely tells us to discover on paper who we are underneath all of the disease, denial, and outside programming. And that's kind of, where I'm at today. I recently did a step 4 and, just wanting to work through the fear. And there was a lot of stuff, underneath all of the layers of, self-justification, you know, there was so much stuff that, you know, I just never wanted to look at, you know. Fear, I also want to read something quick out of 12 Steps of, out of the big book about fear. It says, fear somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. And that's totally true for me. You know, I found myself, you know, fearful of responsibility. You know, I was a young mother at 16, was pregnant with my first child. And I was a mother at 17, and then I was pregnant again, a mother at 18 of 2 kids. And I guess that fear of, you know, responsibility, you know, I was in school, you know, the drinking and the partying and all that stuff came first, you know. So in a sense, I can see that, you know, I was running from my responsibility since, I guess I was in my early 20s when I asked my mom to, you know, give me a break with my kids to take them off my hands until I finished school. And, of course, I never finished school. You know, again, you know, drinking was, you know, it was more important than, you know, handling my responsibilities. And, you know, I never was able to keep a job. And, you know, fear of financial insecurity, that is a huge one for me that, you know, it keeps coming up again and again, you know, and I found myself just pretty much just running from everything. That's what they say. Fear is forgetting everything and running. And that's kind of what I did, and I jumped into the, you know, stripping and the adult world of entertainment. I jumped in head first, and I started drinking. I was already drinking before I started stripping, but I think the stripping, that environment, it just accelerated the disease, you know, the addiction, you know, my alcoholism. And when I say addiction, I'm just referring to addiction in all types, you know, the alcohol, you know, prostitution is a symptom. Okay, just want to make sure everybody understood that. So I very quickly went through, there's only a handful of clubs in Toledo where I started stripping, and, you know, I would do things I wouldn't even remember the next day. You know, I got fired from the first club that, you know, like the best club in Toledo where, you know, I could have had a chance at making decent money. You know, and then I went to another one, did something stupid and was too embarrassed or whatever to go back. You know, went to another one, did something stupid, didn't remember, you know, was fired. You know, you can't come back to this one. I mean, after a while, I mean, there were only a handful of strip clubs there. I realized, you know, I was burning my bridges everywhere. There was going to be no place else for me to work. So I took my show on the road and started dancing in Michigan, in Detroit. Got my dancer's license and started dancing there. And, you know, the alcoholism, it just got progressively worse. And I did find myself, you know, doing extras, you know, in the VIPs, you know, turning tricks or whatever, for money. So that's, you know, it did start there for me. And I'm trying to think what else. What does this have to do with fear? But yeah, I mean, I drank, you know. I've always had a fear of people, you know, especially since I was a kid. And when I started drinking, you know, I felt comfortable in my own skin for the first time. So, you know, just being in that environment where I had to take my clothes off, you know, for a living, it just, you know, I just drank, you know, to cope, you know, to do it. And, you know, of course, the drinking, it just kind of accelerated, like, my depression. I was, you know, diagnosed with depression, and, you know, I would get to the point where I was suicidal at times, and I attempted it 3 times, you know, in my drinking career. But, you know, I caught a DUI driving back and forth, stripping in Michigan and then driving back home to Toledo at the end of my shift, and lost my driver's license for a period of 8 years. And a guy who I'd met in the strip club, we started dating. He was taking care of me. I stopped stripping, but again, I just never felt like I was responsible enough to take care of myself, to hold down a job, and I was letting this person take care of me, who turned out to be totally abusive and started, pulling a gun out on me towards the end, and I would hold it to my head, and eventually he overdosed, and I woke up one morning, and we were both in the bed, and he was dead. And that's when I decided to get on the one-way flight and move to Atlanta, and I thought I would just come here and get a job stripping until I got on my feet. Again, like that was just always the solution, just quick money, and of course I got here and, it wasn't like anything like I thought. A dancing permit was like $300 or $400. I didn't have any money when I got here. So, of course, I was, pretty much making money on my back, turning tricks or whatever when I first came to Atlanta. Did that for a while, eventually got in a strip club. And the owner of the strip club had me doing tricks in the VIP room to pay him back for money that he had gave me, to pay for my dance permit and groceries and other personal things that he had spent money on me. He was running a tab. So I was, still in the game when I got here to Atlanta. And eventually, I dealt with some agencies, found out about Craigslist and, Backpage and, all of the different ones, Eros, saved my money, got a laptop, kind of got away from the drugs and the bad influences, and was just doing my thing for a while. And okay, I got about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to open it up to share. But I'm just trying to bring it all together. But I guess I've just been running from responsibility and, just trying to take, shortcuts in life, and, it just really hasn't worked out, the unmanageability is just, it's just always been there when I live in self-will. And, since I came into the 12 steps, I came in through AA, I wound up here in SWA. I guess it doesn't really matter how we wind up here one way or the other. I was trying to get my driver's license back, and, that's what led me to AA. And I didn't realize that, the prostitution was a problem as well, like just as bad as the alcohol, So I did that for about 4 or 5 years until my last sponsor told me to keep reaching out to SWA. And now for the first time, I'm like, I'm facing my fears, I get so far in my recovery, and then it's just like, I'll go back to escorting, or I'll relapse, or whatever, what I mean? Just anything to avoid, doing what I need to do, to hold down a job, get my kids back, face my responsibilities. And now, like, for the first time, because I'm also surrendering to powerlessness over the prostitution as well as the alcohol, now I'm finally making headway in my recovery and facing my fears. So anyway, with that, I'll just open up the floor. I think there was something else I was supposed to read. I'm not sure. Okay. And you can share, let's see, time to open up the meeting. You can share about whatever was read or about anything else you feel like sharing. If you don't know what to share, then tell us how you've been doing for the last week, and keep us updated on how you're doing and how we can help. Again, remember to hit *6 to mute if you're not speaking, and please do not talk out of turn. I can only hear one of you at a time, so I will call upon everyone before we end the meeting. Okay, everyone can unmute their phones, and just whoever would like to share, just go ahead. Floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Shelby.
Hi, Shelby.
Hi. Paris, I can totally understand everything that you said, and I can relate to it. I work the NA program along with just finding the SWA and finding Jody and being grateful to God and grateful that I have another day clean and grateful that I found Jody and grateful that I found the other women in SWA and NA. And I believe that whether you read from the big book, whether you read from the basic text, or whether you read from the recovery guide, I believe that our drinking, our drug use, when it comes to SWA, and this is just my opinion, and this is just my life, I found, and I've heard from many other people, that we tend to use not because we'll get to a point where we don't like the way that the drugs are making us feel or the alcohol is making us feel. And it's not so much that we want to do the alcohol or the drugs, but we want to change the way we feel. That's what the drugs and the alcohol does for us. It changes the way we feel. What we've done when we go out and we do a call, whether or not it's a great call, or whether or not it's a pain in the ass, or whether or not it's a good night at the strip bar or it's a shit night at the strip bar, whatever part of the industry you're in, when you use alcohol or drugs, we're really not using them, and this is my opinion, we really don't use them to get that wonderful feeling. What we're doing is trying to change the feelings that we feel, the guilt that we feel, because no matter whether or not we've made 300 a night or whether or not we made 1,000, we still have to look at ourselves in the mirror. And that's what I've learned, that when I have to be very vigilant, because I'm just now getting out of the industry with the help of Jody and the assignments that she's given me, but that it's really about changing the way we feel and trying to forget what we did, because we can't honestly look ourselves in the mirror, at least I can't, and say, I am really proud of myself because I'm a hell of a good prostitute. So, I think it's just, that we want to change the way we feel. A lot of us, me included, I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel respected. I didn't feel like I belonged. Even back in high school, I didn't feel like I belonged. I wanted more of the excitement, more of the fun. I came from a good family, but I wanted more of the fun, more of the excitement. And I don't want to take up too much time, but if you have to, if there's a need to relapse and actually do a call or go to the bar and dance for a little while, if you do that, or if you can get a hold of 3 people, like Jody's, drilled in my head, if you can get a hold of 3 people, the chances are that you're going to come up with a resolution that's going to be different than going. But if you do go, then, and you do have to do that, then by all means, don't ever be ashamed to say, I've got to get to an NA meeting, or I've got to get online, or I've got to call Jody, or I've got to call one of the other women in SWA that has had an addiction problem other than sex workers. And I need to say, look, I relapsed. I did a call. I feel like shit, and now I feel like going and getting a line, or now I feel like going and getting some pills and passing out for a day or two so I don't have to think about what I just did.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that Jody has put this together in such a way that we now have once you have the tool, once you have the education, you have no more excuses not to work the program to the best of your ability. And that does not mean that we will not relapse. That once you have, it's kind of like once you know your car is fixing to break down, if you don't take it and start saving up your money, or if you don't take it to a mechanic, it's going to break down. It's going to break down. And I just real quickly, and then I'll shut up. I don't want to stay on a soapbox. But Jody has sent me a really nice girl that's just coming back after a relapse, Janetta. I don't know if she made it on the line tonight. I'm hoping that she's here. I talked to her a little while ago, and I asked her to please be here tonight. And she's going through a lot right now, and all I could try to do was give her a little strength and hope, and let her know that, you know, through the phone meetings that she will get to know people. You know, I was honest with her and told her, you know, that right now, you know, all I have is Jody's number and Jesse's number, and I use them. I've had to already use the numbers. And Jody, I can't thank you enough for what you've done. You know, I know that you put your own life in danger and your child's life in danger to give us a chance to survive, and for that I will forever be grateful to you. And with that being said, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Shelby.
Uh-huh.
I'm not hearing anybody say anything. I'll jump in here. Get this thing mixed up again. I'm Jody, and I'm a recovering prostitute. And can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I didn't know if the phone got off. Yeah, my phone keeps sounding like it's dead all of a sudden. Okay. And Paris, I can't thank you enough, first of all, for leading the meeting today. It's such an awesome privilege, you know, to hear the meeting being led. You did a wonderful job. And Shelby, thank you for what you said, because, you know, I also need some encouragement, because I'm just like you guys. I have the same disease, and I have the same fucked up addict thoughts, and, you know, I have the same self-willed, self-centered, selfish nature, you know, that every day I wake up going, fuck this shit. You know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to answer this phone. I don't want to talk to these goddamn bitches. Every fucking day, you know, and then I have to, you know, remind myself of why I do this and plug the phone in and get back on the horse again, called recovery. And, you know, so it's awesome to, you know, to see that it's working, you know, because that's the saying is I want to impress to you guys is that there will come a point where you'll see not only your own personal recovery, but you'll see that you are having an impact on other people's lives. And that is a wonderful feeling. That is a glorious feeling of, like, translating some of the things that we need into something positive. You know, like, you know, as a self-willed, selfish prostitute, junkie, et cetera, that I was, you know, I like to know that I'm important, you know. I like that, you know, but I've translated that now into being important this way. I mean, that's some of the things that, you know, talking about, Paris is talking about, you know, the fourth step. And, you know, when I went through that whole process of, like, turning over, you know, my sort of, you know, defects and shortcomings and everything that was wrong with me, so to speak, and, you know, there were a lot of things about me that I really didn't like, that I wanted to go away. and they weren't going away. And, my sponsor really helped me to see that I am turning that over to God to do as he wills, or whatever your perception is of God, but in mine it's a male. And, it's, turning it over to God. And you know what? If he's not removing it, maybe he's got a purpose for it, and accepting that. And, and over the years I've come to see that because, I get criticized a lot for having a big mouth. Well, and it's not gone away. As much as I've turned it over, it has not gone away. And it's got me in a lot of trouble over the years. But, this big mouth of mine is what keeps this program going, on the other hand. And if I didn't have a big mouth, then, we wouldn't be here. So, I can see that, but here's the difference is by turning all of that mess of me over, as fucked up as I am, etc., by turning it over to God, I see that God is using it today into something constructive. So rather than wreaking havoc, upon my life and destroying my life and destroying other people around me, by the process that's been afforded me in this program, I'm now creating constructive things in my life and other people's lives. So, and that's a really big key difference for me, is to see that by turning it over, that there are positive things that are coming out of it. And, I see this every week. I see those of you that come back, this is what I mean is I see the process works because I may not see it in myself. We have a blind spot as addicts. We don't see ourselves very clearly. It is a disease of perception. We are always changing the way we perceive things. So we don't have an accurate view of how things are. And sometimes when we feel the worst is when we're doing the best. And sometimes when we're feeling the best is when we're doing the worst, So, and understanding that my perception's messed up, I have to look outside you guys. And I see that every week that you guys come back, you all are getting better. I see the total difference in you guys every week, how much better you're all getting. And then I also see, like you were talking about Janetta. I see poor Janetta out there who's not coming to the meetings. I know she didn't make it today. She told me that she is choosing to go out gambling and get loaded, et cetera, tonight. And it's like, okay, that's your choice. I'm getting off the phone now. If that's your choice, then I say thank you very much and back up, and she knows that we're here when she's done. And, it's like I asked her once, I said, oh, so you've relapsed, you've gone to Disneyland, as I call it. And I go, you've ridden the rides and you've talked to the freaks and, Disneyland is still hell, isn't it? And she said, yeah, it is. And it's like, so I can also hear that it's still hell out there without having to do it myself. And, and I'm like, are you ready to come in from the park yet? And she's not ready to come home from the fair yet. And that's okay. Hopefully, she will make it in from the fair before she dies. Because, I see every day, I get these Google alerts, about those of us who don't make it back alive, Because that's the thing. It's not like smoking generally for us where we die slowly of lung cancer. We can go out, poof, like that. Just like fucking that, we can go out, And, granted, being in recovery is not immortality. We're not going to live forever, but at least I have some choice that I'm probably not likely to go out at the hands of some trick or pip murdering me generally if I'm out here living on my SSI check and staying out of trouble, and I see the progress myself in my recovery, I can definitely see the progress that I'm having. And then also, I need to bond. I need to be around people like myself that understand myself very much so, because otherwise it's just too difficult. When you're in recovery and you're, say, for example, not turning tricks and not taking medication of some kind that you're not supposed to be taking, you're going to be feeling things. You're going to be walking through those feelings. And, I'll never forget, to show you guys an example of, the weird feelings I go through. I remember I was having this dinner with my mother and grandmother and some of their friends and everything, and I was getting all upset, and I was crying, and I was experiencing emotions, and everybody was looking at me like I was a freak, and they were all like, what's wrong with you? And then I'm looking at everybody at the table with their margaritas in there, and my mom popping her Valium, and then I realized that I was the only person at that table that wasn't loaded. It's like, oh, okay, And it's not that there's anything wrong with them or me or whatever, but it's going to cause a real, attitude shift between one or the other. I'm going to be feeling things differently. Rosie knows. Rosie's seen me stub my toe and start swearing like a sailor, but it's because I'm feeling things, and so, and I have to give myself a break about that, is that I'm going to be feeling feelings, and and this program is showing me how to walk through those feelings without killing myself or without killing somebody else or without creating havoc in my life to try to not feel that stuff, And I need this meeting, you guys. That's why I'm so grateful you're here and you guys are doing it, because I have to do this for myself. I need this program. I don't fit in any place else. I don't have anybody who understands me anyplace else. You guys are me. You guys are my mirror, and I need that. It's true. You get what you have by giving it away, and I get my recovery from giving it away, and it's weird, and I'm having to adjust to the fact that, sometimes like the things that I think are the absolute worst possible thing are actually like God's will and good, and I have to surrender to that. An example would be, for years my daughter, I'll give you an example, for years my daughter was having what we thought was bipolar symptoms. She was hallucinating and having horrible mood swings, and, we thought, oh, my God, she's going to be cursed for life as a bipolar like her father. And then she had this horrible accident where she got run over by an SUV. Oh, my God, terrified us. She could have been killed, and it broke her back, literally, and she was in a body cast for 3 months. And that's an absolutely horrible thing to have happen. But in the process of them MRIing her and X-raying her, et cetera, they found out that she had a 26-pound tumor on her left ovary. 26-pound tumor on her ovary. And what that was doing was it was pumping out all these hormones that were making her crazy. And, they went in, they snipped it out, and voila, the symptoms were gone. No more, all the hallucinations, et cetera, were gone. Those things are gone. She was like back to completely normal again. And it's like a weird thing to say is, thank God for the accident. But that could have been horrible. It could have been let go. It could have turned to cancer. It could have been anything. And I have to look at my disease this way. My disease, by some people may be viewed as a really horrible thing. But to me, it's been an absolute blessing, because it's created me having a spiritual life and getting to know you guys and the wonderful friendships that I have with you guys and seeing you all recover and get better and the wonderful magical things I see in recovery. It's really a blessing. I can't thank you guys enough for being out there and working your program so I can be a part of that, So I want to thank you for letting me share on that, and I'll pass to the next person.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
How about you, Edwin? How you doing?
Well, let's see. My allergies are bad, and I have lots of weird hours at work. And I didn't check my mail until earlier today, so I didn't call anybody from here, but I've been busy with my friends from the industry in Tampa. Michelle had not a heart attack exactly, but one of her ventricles was not bringing in enough blood, and she passed out. And I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do for treatment, but this is evidently one of those conditions that could be instantly fatal. And so we're waiting to see what they can do for a treatment. But she's one of my oldest friends from the industry. We've been friends since 2007, I guess. First started getting serious about the prostitution part of my fucked up childhood. And so I've been kind of dealing with that all week. She just went in the hospital on Monday and got out yesterday morning early. So my week has been kind of revolving around that. With her partner is also from the industry. She did. Well, it doesn't matter what aspects of business they're just two of my friends that are us, and they're hurting right now. So that's what I've been dealing with. Thanks.
Thanks, Edwin.
Thanks, Edwin.
Is there anybody else who hasn't shared who would like to?
What about Rosie? How you doing, Rosie? You still there? Rosie? What about Jessie? Is she out there?
I don't think Jessie made it tonight, Joey.
She was here. She was here.
I am here.
Yeah, I'm about to say Jessie's out there.
Hey!
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jessie.
Yep.
Hey. Shoot. I am here. Well, you don't have to share if you don't want to share, like I read in the beginning, but...
No. Today has been a very busy day for me. As you all know, I'm working on the PowerPoint for the steps and for the traditions.
Hello?
And hello?
Yeah, she's there. Can you hear her? Jessie was telling me she's working on the PowerPoint.
I couldn't get off the muting.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Jessie's going to share and then you, Rosie. Jessie will share and then you, Rosie.
Okay.
Yes, I've had a pretty good week. I've been working on, I think as you all know, I've been working on the PowerPoint for this 12 steps and for the traditions and, just simply writing those out and putting them up on something and having to go over and over and over that again to see, whether this particular slide transition works or, this, that, or the other thing. It just brought back the reality to me of how important recovery is in general. Recovering from anything is a complicated issue, and I just really appreciate you all being here tonight. I think that this is a great group, and I look forward to it every week.
Thank you, Jessie. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Jessie.
What about you, Rosie?
Okay, well, I felt very panic-stricken, I suppose, this last week. It was it was the anniversary of my major breakdown where I was hospitalized last year at this exact time of year, and I was really afraid that I was going to lose it and end up back in the hospital. And I wasn't trying to freak out. I was really trying to stay level, and I am on medication, and it was just at the time where they decided to fuck with me at Walgreens, and I almost ended up with some seizures, but luckily the prescription came through, and I got my meds, and I did not end up going to the hospital. And then Jody came over and brought me some food and some things, and I just really needed the visit, and it really helped me a lot, Jody, to have you come over. And because I was very isolated and very afraid, and it just got me over the hump. And I'm here, and I'm alive, and I'm not in the hospital, and I feel really good about that.
That's awesome. Ready to out of the hospital is good.
Yeah,
That's fantastic, Rosie.
Was that everybody? Wait, are you still sharing, Rosie?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I just wanted to say how thankful I was for the visit.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so does anyone have, a burning desire, anything you want to get off your chest, or anybody want to jump in because we still have a few minutes? Other than that, we can get ready to close out with Serenity Prayer.
Just real quick, this is Shelby again, and I'll just make this very, very short. Edwin, if he's still on the line, I had shared at Wednesday's meeting, phone meeting, that my best friend of 26 years, we got in the industry together, at 19. She just OD'd. She lives in Tampa, and she just OD'd. Tampa's a very dangerous place. It's they have probably in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area the most amount of strip clubs per capita of any place in the United States. It's crazy. And Edwin, just pray and just be there for them, because like I said, I have to drive over to Tampa in a couple of days, and I have to bury a friend of 26 years. Mm-hmm. And because we always think, and at least me and a lot of the women that I've known in this industry, a lot of the people that I've known in NA, we always think we can do it one more time. Mm. We always think we can do one more trick. We always think we can do one more run. We can do one more out and hit it and have fun one more time. But that one more time can be the one more time that puts you 6 foot under. And that's what happened to my friends. And so my heart goes out to you, Edwin, and your friends in Tampa. And again, Jody, my heart goes out to your daughter. And as we close the meeting tonight, I think we all on the phone know that without Jody starting this, we'd still be lost. So if you choose not to, then don't. But if you choose to, take a moment of silence and just say a prayer for Jody's daughter. And that's all I've got. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, Frank's on the line. I don't know if he wants to share too before we close.
No, I'm okay. Frank, okay. I'm a former prostitute. I'm fine. I'm just listening.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. And thank you for the prayers.
Thank you, everyone who shared tonight. If you'd like to donate to us as part of your 7th tradition, please get the address from me as to where to send your donation. If you're not sure what to send, keep in mind that for every $10 we receive, we can donate a recovery guide to a member who can't afford one for themselves, who may be in prison or a program, or doesn't have access to the Internet to read it online. Are there any SWA announcements?
Yeah, I'll give a couple announcements. Yeah, we've got some great service positions you guys have taken on to help me with this load. I can't thank you enough for that. I sent out an email about all of them specifically. I've been up all night, so I can't remember exactly, but I know you're all helping me with something, and that's really awesome. So I wanted to thank you all for that. And then also the Wednesday meeting is going really good. You know, the women there really, really are appreciating hearing from us. And so that's still every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, noon Central time. Same phone codes to come to that meeting. I'm trying to go through the process so that all of us get like a grasp of the different way the SWA program is from others. So we were on the 3rd tradition, and then we're easing into the first step as of next Wednesday's meeting. And, of course, I'm looking for more recovering speakers. If you know of anybody who's been out, you know, that you can hog tie and drag them to the meeting to come speak, you know, please let me know if we can, you know, line up more speakers for those poor girls, because, you know, they're on methadone and that's really tough, you know. And I'm trying to think what other announcements. Yeah, I'm really glad you guys are here again. And Jesse's got some stuff I know that I'll be sending out to have you guys approve. Thank you so much for helping me with that, too. And we got a couple of meetings starting, too, in Atlanta and Nashville, a couple of things like that. So, and I'm going to be taking a trip up to Carson City in about 2 weeks and try to do a quick outreach while I'm up there, let my daughter see a doctor up there, and then try to do some outreach up there, and then heading into Los Angeles probably by February. So just, that means we'll have a Los Angeles meeting going once I get out there. But it's just so Gabby can see the doctor at UCLA, get things set up there, and then come back to, So I'll be hopping around a little bit there. So that's the only announcement.
Okay, thanks, Jody. Are there any SWA anniversaries? Anybody celebrating?
I might as well go order some key tags.
Yeah, that would be cool. And any questions? I don't like to ask if there's any questions.
Well, we had key tags. Yeah, we had key tags, but they all had the old phone number on them, so I need to order new ones for us. I'll get on that.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Jody? Okay. Great. Okay. SWA recommends sponsor. Was someone going to say something? Okay. SWA recommends sponsorship as part of a successful program. If you want a sponsor or want to sponsor someone, then please stay after the close of the meeting and talk to each other after the meeting ends. This phone line allows us to speak to each other anonymously. If you want to share numbers with each other, then you can do so after the meeting. We're at the hour. Thanks for attending the group. Keep coming back. I just want to say one quick thing. Like, if I was a little dry tonight and being a little insensitive to some of the shares or whatever, please just, pay me no attention. Like, one of my hugest fears in the world is speaking in front of groups, and I just faced that fear tonight,
Oh, wow. So, you did an awesome job. Awesome.
Awesome, Jess. Awesome.
I feel awesome that I did this. This is, it's one of my inventory. I just, literally wrote down, fears that were coming up, yesterday, and it's fears in speaking in groups.
Yeah, you did a great job.
But it'll get better. But thank you all. Thanks, everyone who's here. And we'll now close the meeting with the Serenity Prayer. God,
grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Everybody
love you guys.
Love you, Jody. Love you guys.
Okay.